343 had this genius idea recently. Go into the storage unit, dust off some old hard drives from the Bungie era, dating back to 1998 and 1999, all the way to 2004, and recover old enemies, vehicles, weapons, maps from Halo 1 and 2, including the pre-alpha era, and make them playable for us Halo fans. This is so cool. They have this massive article here that I've broken down and highlighted just the juiciest bits. And I want to start with this enemy called the Sharkoi. You might recognize this guy. It was supposed to be in Halo 1, but never came to it. So they've actually written most of the AI system from scratch and or modified a lot of this stuff. And this is going to be usable, right? So this guy, they say, is hulking bruisers from an ancient battlefield. These monstrosities deliver a faceful of feeling to anyone within their path. Ugh. So yeah, these guys are freaking interesting. I mean, like, honestly, I gotta say, you know, what we see here is just not even recognizable Halo. It feels like off-brand Halo, like on a mobile game. But this was what Bungie had worked on and planned for Halo 1 to be, and there's some really cool stuff in this video. Biochemical weapon specialists called Slugmen, right, trained to pick up their targets from a distance. These slugs can deliver a nasty nudge for unsuspecting cyborgs. Also, we have Neo. And these guys, I think, were like the early alternative to hunters, right? They're almost like a biomechanical alternative to the hunter. They say it seemed fitting to intertwine some resemblance on the Sonic side, too. These guys, these warriors, led the most powerful and unruly Covenant creatures by any means of control that could be shot to cause havoc in the alien ranks. So these guys were basically early elites, although perhaps, I don't know, definitely like a different art style on them, like a different look entirely. But like the plasma rifle and energy sword decided to stay, you know, remain intact for the final release, obviously, right? So yes, those are just some cool enemies there. We also have vehicles. So we have the Leech here on the far left, which looks almost like the Spirit, early version of the Spirit. And then we have the Spectre, which did make its way into Halo 2. Viper Stealth Tank. Green camo right there, right? That's something that maybe y'all have seen before. We have the Warthogs, the E3 Chain Gun, Troop Transport Hog, the E3 Rocket, and the Kestrel Doozy Viper Stealth Tank in the blue camo, the Shadow, and then the E3 Pelican, right? They also are recovering the Halo 2 Mongoose, making that playable and drivable, as well as recovering animations. And some of this stuff, guys, they can't recover, or they just don't have enough understanding of what, you know, all of it is, so they just gonna leave the files in there for modders to play with without actually revamping it and like increasing the poly count, which they actually did most notably on the assault rifle grenade launcher, which we'll talk about in a moment. Here, I think this is funny. We actually have the Mongoose, the drivable Uber chassis, and the Piglet. What is the Piglet? Why has that not been in Halo? I love the Piglet already. Looks like a smaller version of the Mongoose, as if the Mongoose wasn't already sort of useless already in a lot of scenarios anyway on multiplayer. We have the Piglet. I think the Piglet would have been great for Forge, you know, for Halo 3 if it ever did come to that. So from left to right, we have the Volpard, the Kill Bug, which looks directly stolen from Half-Life 2. Not that it really was, but it does look exactly like some kind of Zen monster. We have the Rock Worm, and with a quad wing perched on top, a thorax, and an eye bug. Interesting. Interesting. These are weird creatures that we've never got to see in Halo 1. Maybe you've seen some weird creatures with Halo 1 mods back in the day, but these will be coming into the mod tool sets, so these are really cool. We have Ring World inhabitants, right? So that's what we just talked about here. We have the Blind Wolf and the Thorn Beast. Those are not releasing yet, but we do have a whole set of vehicles here, right? From when Halo was an RTS game. So if you don't know, Halo 1 was designed to be an RTS experience. And in a way, thankfully, that didn't happen. That's why I think Halo Wars plays really well. It was always meant to be an RTS game, right? But we have all these assets coming, right? I can't believe they actually found these files and will be releasing them to the public, right? So what I'm most excited for is playing, like, honestly, Macworld, right? They actually have a lot of screenshots of this. They released this, like, funny little, I don't know, like, comic strip of it where they talk about digging behind the scenes on Dig Site, which is the effort to recover all these lost assets or never before seen assets that will soon be playable. Some of these maps will just straight up be playable. They've even made new maps based off textures, which we'll see in a moment here. But Spasm, I'm really excited about talking about this whole world. This is actually taken from, like, I forgot what it's called, like a graph map thing, and they made it work. You know, it's got areas where the sound is different. It's got a bunch of new vehicles and maps, or I mean, sub areas you can play, and we can actually play on Macworld. Like, this is freaking nuts. It's really hard to believe that 343 is actually doing this. They made this map indoor/underground from scratch, but from, like, existing but never before seen Gearbox software maps that they made for PC from the textures, which you can see here. So yeah, they just grabbed this stuff and, you know, whipped it into a new map, right? Brand new textures, never before seen. Really cool stuff, and I think this will be playable. I would really love to see this thrown into, like, MCC matchmaking, right? Just some of these experiences here. I think that'd be, if they have, like, threw it into the action, what do you call it, party playlist or whatever. And then we also have Dusk and Abyss. This is actually a cut map, not new, but this is a cut map. I think it's a 1v1 map. So yeah, kind of strange. We also have this one here. This is called Abyss. So Abyss has this foreigner design. It actually looks more complete. It looks like it should have honestly launched with the game. I don't know why it was cut, but it works in a 1v1 or 2v2 Slayer match. And then also he added this skybox from the pre-Halo era, from the Macworld thing, which I think is just really beautiful and kind of phenomenal for the time. I mean, this is pretty amazing for, what was it, 1999? Oh, E3 2000 demo. So yeah, this is an old skybox, but still, I would love to see this revamped, honestly, all of this revamped into, like, modern gaming looks. But yeah, so we just get a look at all these maps. This one's kind of cool. This is Ruined Pain. They say 2 Ruined Pain maps were uncovered as part of the dig site process. And the really cool thing about this is that dig site is a good name for this, because they are mining into files that we're never gonna see the light of day again, right? This is stuff that Bungie employees worked on, and some of them have been coming out and saying, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember working on that. And that's actually been helping the dig site crew figure out how to piece these things back together so they can be playable for modders and people that want to have these experiences. But this works as actually a big team battle map, 16 players. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And they say it's kind of like a version of Standoff, right? Halo CE version of Standoff. They also have this map here. This one's actually got kind of a cool history swamp thing. So this is a swamp-themed level by Gearbox Software. Lots of similar art from the single-player studio level, as you may remember. 343 Guilty Spark can be on display here. And so this is actually used an early version, actually, of the CE campaign development, which only survives in the form of missing tag references. So in Beak 20, they say, Master Chief was tasked with assassinating a Covenant prophet who at this early date took the form of elites wearing appropriately striking hats. So that's what elites were, just elites with fancy, or what prophets were, elites with fancy hats. We also have Spasm. This was made famous by the Macworld 1999 demo, right, and subsequent media appearances. So Spasm was this multi-biome environment built to test vehicles, architecture, and new game mechanics during the fast-paced early days of Halo development. So they've set this up as a sandbox that me and you can play in, explore, and repurpose for our own mods. This is nuts. And they say, what's pretty obvious, it's a bit surreal getting to walk around and play on this map after all these years. It's a great playground to see how these vehicles play, weapons, and how these different materials work with each other, right? So, yeah, and when you get up to, like, little mountain peaks, you actually hear wind rushing past, which is kind of cool. Anyway, they've upgraded the engine, obviously, from MCC, so it can handle a lot of these more what would have been buggy or game crashing assets. So they actually found some early stuff for Halo 2. This includes new maps and vehicles, and one of these is a revision of Outskirts and Metropolis, where New Mombasa took place, right? So this is kind of like up in the sky, up in the clouds, like on top of a skyscraper, which is pretty cool. We have a recovered version of Ascension. So yeah, it looks like it's pretty much very similar to the finished layout. We also have burial mounds, and looks pretty different from the original, or well, from the finished version. We have Colossus revision, and again, all these assets are going to be actually accessible to us soon, which is pretty exciting. But we also have a Colossus revision, which looks very different from the original, from what I can remember. We also have Headlong revision, and yeah, urban planning is harder than it looks. I like that. So this map is wacky. I like the modern Headlong, but I still think this could be pretty fun to play on in Halo 2. We also have a Lockout revision, so it was nicknamed Blockout, which is pretty funny. Midship revision, much darker, but still similar layout. And Waterworks revision, which took like this look of basically Blood Gulch, but underground. So I think this is really cool. Never seen any of this stuff before. So, I mean, maybe some of it's been in Halo mods before, but most of it's been inaccessible, all right? This has been on a, hard drive in the back, all right? Not really, I'm not sure, but probably, right? This was a cut multiplayer map from Halo 2 on Xbox. I don't know why. Some of these Halo 2 maps look finished. This really should have made it. This could have been a classic. I mean, what is going on here? All right, we have Artery, a cut multiplayer map. This one actually looks pretty good for the time, for Halo 2 Vista. I mean, that looks pretty good. I don't know why this got cut, right? Backwoods, a cut map from Halo 2 Vista. Convergence, same thing. This one looks pretty large, probably took a lot of effort. I don't know why it was cut. It looks finished. And we have a Convergence revision as well. And Convict, a cut multiplayer map from Halo 2 on Xbox, so it's basically based off Halo 1's Prisoner. Grotto, which is basically where, we would all die from snipers on the Halo 2 campaign mission, Delta Halo, right? Rodentia, and they cleaned this map up too. Like, that's what they've done with most of these. They've actually cleaned up the maps. I'm trying to make this video as fast as possible, but, like, there's just so much here. Covenant Sample, Foreigner Sample. This map is actually beautiful. I feel like this could have fit really well into Halo 2's map list. Why are all these maps cut? Human Sample, only unofficially released until now. This is, like, just kind of, I guess, showing off the assets of, why they're working on the campaign. And Shaft, a multiplayer map that was also cut, but the basics of the map were and layout were also worked on in Halo 3. And that's interesting that they decided to even cut this. I do see some themes here, like some similar. It looks like maybe they used it for Zanzibar, right? Some of these assets. It kind of has like a similar open, but medium to layout. We also have Soccer. Interesting. This was actually available mods before, but we do have some cut weapons, including the assault rifle grenade launcher, and we have weapons such as that being upgraded, like adding more polygons from 343. Thanks for that. And we also have the SMG, right? This SMG is kind of competing with the assault rifle, so they kind of changed it a little bit to match the sandbox a little bit better, complement it a little bit better. They added more polygons on it, made it look a little bit better, added a holographic sight. So obviously it didn't look this good in Halo CE days. I think that would have been kind of surprising, or at least in 2000, right? And we also have weapons working with a third-person component of the game, right? So running around here playing these very, very old levels that we've probably all seen, but have never been able to play. It's just fascinating to me, honestly. It's weird. But yeah, that pretty much concludes the video, guys. Be sure to smash that like button blue if you ended up enjoying, and subscribe for more updates on Dig Site. Huge thanks to 343 for making this happen. See y'all soon. Bye.